From far and wide, Oilers fans, this is Dolynny TV. And welcome back to another discussion here on Dolynny TV, guys. I'm Tyson. This is going to be a little bit more of a just analytical, statistical look at exactly what to expect coming up post All-Star break for the Edmonton Oilers, looking at the top 4 scorers. You can argue I should have Alex Chiasson in here. He is tied for that 4th spot behind RNH, McDavid, and Draisaitl with Darnell Nurse. However, Nurse being a defenseman, and there being a lot of questions to the defense coming up here right after the All-Star break, I made the decision to go and talk about Nurse because I think it's just the way to go. So without further ado, I guess we should get right into it. What I'm looking at here is point totals for the rest of the season and for the season as the whole, because this is where the Oilers really need to make hay, right? We need to look at what our big guns are going to do and kind of compare what the rest of the team's going to have to do to get us some big goals down the stretch. So for Darnell Nurse, I guess this is just an analytical look at how good or how bad our best players have been so far this year. Darnell Nurse, 50 games played. He has 6 goals, 18 assists for 24 points. You want to talk about a guy who has absolutely stepped up his game in the absence of Oscar Klefbom. That is Darnell Nurse. Now, when I look at what the Oilers need to do right the rest of the way home after the All-Star break, after the week off, all that, the number one key I see the Oilers needing to do is pair Oscar Klefbom with Darnell Nurse. Simple as that. Because what I think that gives you a high-scoring duo, and Darnell Nurse, when he's actually alert defensively, he's a beast. Oscar Klefbom is all around our best defenseman, so you got to hope and pray they can do the job together, and you got to have both of them on the power play. Have Klefbom on the top unit. I don't care. Klefbom on the top unit's completely fine with me, but Darnell Nurse has got to be getting at least a minute to a minute and 20 of power play time each game, and you got to make sure you're getting him some shots. But that's another strategy, too, the Oilers need to look at is not so much getting the shot from the point on the power play. Instead, getting the shot to create the havoc in front of the net and playing half the power play within 10 feet of the goalie. If you can do that, the Oilers are going to be absolutely unstoppable on the power play the rest of the way home. And that begins with Nurse either feeding it down for that 1-2 pass into the slot to get those chances, or with getting that shot on net and getting the puck in the havoc areas. So for Darnell Nurse, he's got the 24 points, like I said, in 50 games played. That gives him a chance at 39-40 points, right? It's 39.36 over an 82 game pace. So for Darnell Nurse, 40 points would be 14 points higher than a career high. He only needs 3 more for a career high at this point. That would be 27 as opposed to last year's 26. And that would be a real huge step up for a 23-year-old defenseman, especially when you look at the Oilers' way of developing defensemen. If you can have your 23-year-old defenseman chipping in 40 points, that's going to be huge. And so Darnell Nurse, those are the simple recipes there. Let's go move on to another man in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You know what? Let's take a look at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins here, who, if I could use a calculator right here, is on pace for 75.5 points, so 75 or 76. That's what the math is saying. Now with Nugent-Hopkins, this is where it gets really interesting. He's a career shooter where he shoots about 11.5%. Last year he shot 11 or 15.9%, had the 24 goals and then 24 assists in 62 games. So for Nugent-Hopkins, this is exactly where it comes down to what I was saying with Darnell Nurse. If you're going to get the puck to the net, create the havoc on the power play, and even 5-on-5, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has to be the guy in those situations when he's on the ice, getting to those gritty areas, putting the puck in the net, and putting the game to bed himself. Right? For Nuge, if he wants to take that next step, he's already taken the next step this year, but the next step as a 25-year-old second-line centerman behind Connor McDavid, honestly, just get as many friggin' points as you can. Take as many points away from Connor McDavid as possible and net the pucks yourself. Because the theory there is Connor McDavid's not going to have those points taken away from him. even if that's what Nuge is going out there to do, because Connor McDavid is Connor McDavid and he'll still get his points. So realistically, you look at it that way, Nuge on pace for 75 points, a career high by almost 20 additional points. It's actually 19. You imagine how much that would help the Oilers the rest of the way home. Problem is, he's already on pace for a career high, and it's really not helping us so far. But the problem is, yes, our goals against are quite high, and that's, sorry, my nose is running, on the shoulders of the goaltending and defense at this point, and the depth scoring. However, Nuge is going to carry part of the depth scoring, right? You've got Draisaitl, McDavid, and whoever on the top line, but Nuge has got two depth guys on the wing. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Unless we go out and trade for someone that's going to help Nuge, it's not exactly going to be the prettiest situation for Nugent Hopkins the rest of the way home with line mates. But if he can start crashing and banging, either he's going to free up a puck before he puts it in the back of the net and someone else is going to, or someone's going to slide him a puck and get it into the back of the net. And that's essentially the mentality. As you've seen with these first two players, what I'm getting at is just havoc. Get to the net. Just crash, bang, put pucks home. That's literally what's been missing so much from the Oilers' style over the past, stretch of 2019 so far. So if they can do that, they can absolutely get the job done. And when Nuge was hot as hell, what was I saying about him? I was saying he was getting to the gritty areas, getting to the dirty areas, getting the job done in front of the net. And if Darnell Nurse can contribute to Nugent Hopkins doing that, maybe a couple extra points for both of them. Why not, right? Let's go talk about Leon Draisaitl here, because Draisaitl is an interesting one, because this is where it gets absolutely exciting if you're an Oilers fan. For the first time in a long, long while, Oilers fans might actually have two guys hit 100 points. Right now, Leon Draisaitl's on pace for 100 points exactly, 100.04, and that's a 61 point total in 50 games so far, 27 goals, 34 assists. Needs 3 more goals for a career high. That would be his first time hitting the 30 goal mark, and realistically for Leon Draisaitl, it should happen, because playing with McDavid, he's, appears to have taken a lot less shots, but he's actually getting what I'd say probably a lot more shots at this point. Like I said, 100 points. Let me do the math on the shots, because it's got me curious, because he should average a career high of shots this year, 211 if he continues the pace he's on, shooting 20.9%. That's going to be a nice little drastic change for Leon Draisaitl, who could eclipse 40 goals this year if that's the case he shoots. So for Leon Draisaitl, that's a good look for the Oilers. And to have a 44 goal scorer on the wing with Connor McDavid, come on, folks. How can you complain about that? That sounds like a great time to me. And the last number we need to take a look at is the 120 points in 81 games if Connor McDavid plays all 81. He's already missed one, that's why I'm saying 81. But for Connor McDavid, 120 points. So you put 100 points with Leon Draisaitl, 100 for Connor McDavid. You've got Connor McDavid in the Hart Trophy candidacy there if he does that, and if he doesn't go off and get a bunch more points and get 125 or 130. But you put those two together, you have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the second line, driving a second line as an absolute monster, putting up 75 to 80 points, and you've got guys going to the net with Nuge and getting the puck in the back of the net. It's simple as that. The depth goals will come if we can finally figure out who we should have on the third and fourth lines. And guys, it's going to be good to go. But remember, all of a sudden Lucci's got 4 goals in 2019, and we're only a month in. That's going to be a massive change for the Oilers if he can start scoring a bunch of goals and getting the job done. So for the Oilers, it's an interesting case of the top guys have to keep performing at their level for us to have a chance at the playoffs. But if they can drive those numbers that much, and if Darnell Nurse can continue to drive the numbers as he has without Oscar Klefbom, and then start playing with Klefbom, the fact is things are going to change for this Edmonton Oilers team post All-Star break. That is, if everybody wants to buy into what Connor McDavid's saying, in terms of if you don't believe, get out, right? That's the other scary scenario there. But guys, that's the analytical look at the Oilers' top 4 players at this point. I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. What do you think? Are the numbers right? Are the numbers wrong? Let me know in the comments section down below. I will catch you in the next one.